All right, you know I've got a weakness for cartooning. I'm a recovering cartoonist myself. Local cartooning is so fun, and through my years from college to everywhere, there was one cartoonist who was, I think, the meanest, the awfulest, the worst, and put me in a dress way too often. Kenny B from Westword, thank you for being here.
It was great to draw you in a dress.
I mean, what was nice was when I started RTD, I remember you put me in front of a RTD train I was driving, and I was, wow, I made it into Westword, which was a big thing for me. And then I started getting a little pudgier and a little less hair, and then a little pudgier and a little less hair, and I'd go between goatees, and it doesn't look anything like me now.
Oh, yeah, well, I draw what I see.
No, it was awful. I want to talk about this because for me, Westword being Denver's version of the Village Voice, the weekly alternative paper, Westword has such an amazing niche here in Colorado. What Patty has been able to do with it has been remarkable. That you have guys like Alan Pendergast who actually have enough space to write a story in detail, more than you could possibly want to know, and you got the luxury. But without you, it isn't Westword, and you haven't been in Westword for a while.
That's right. September, my full-time position was eliminated at Westword, and so I don't have that space to do with what I had done for...
Did Hickenlooper finally put in enough chits?
It might have been him. I don't think so. I don't think it was actually him, though. It might have been...
All right, let me go off on this.
Yeah,
I know that these weekly newspapers like Village Voice have all been put together in a nice big conglomeration, and they're owned by the same parent company now. Am I right on this?
Yeah, Village Voice Media owns Westword.
And let me tell you, it's the same thing that's happened in radio. It's the same thing that's happened in television. It gets homogenized and it gets squeezed down. But this one, I'm sorry, it blows my friggin' mind. You cannot have Westword without you. You were the essence of alternative weekly newspaper-ness.
I always thought I was, too. It has been sort of hard. When it happened, I sort of laid down for, I think, 10 days. Just, it was a shock not to have been let go. It was very, it was strange.
Well, you were only doing it for a couple of years, so it's not a big deal.
It was only 29 years at
29 years. Did you start when Patty started Westword?
No, I was 5 years after she had started.
Okay.
I came in 5 years after Westword began, and started doing just small cartoons that they would use to fill space. And then I kind of got to be friends with everybody, and they had hired me to do Paste Up, which was a mistake on their part, because since I was in control of Paste Up, I could always make space for myself. And so I always did, and there's probably a lot of galleries and dance companies in town who failed because I wouldn't put their listing in so I could get my cartoon in that week. And I started doing a weekly strip. At first it was called the Super Bad Boulder Girls, and I got tired of them after 13 weeks, and sort of came up with Worst Case Scenario out of the blue.
A Worst Case Scenario reminded me, and by the way, if you're not into cartoons, you don't follow this. Worst Case Scenario was a full page, usually, cartoon that you would go in any direction. But what I loved about Worst Case Scenario is it starred local characters.
Yes.
And you know, with editorial cartooning now, there is no localness at all.
No.
This had an edge to it. It reminded me a lot of what Matt Groening did well before The Simpsons when he did his weekly thing called Life is Hell.
Right, and that was the joy. And coming up with the title Worst Case Scenario, I didn't have any characters I had to do, and I could do local people. And one of the things I had said to Patty at one time is, I want to draw everybody in the city of Denver before I'm done, just because I didn't want to draw the same person every week. I didn't want to draw the governor, the mayor, the city council people. I wanted to do government, sports, high society. I wanted to jump around.
Well, and Denver is rich with caricatures. I mean, we walk around. It's got this cast of characters that need to be cartoons.
And they're sadly not paid a lot of attention to in many ways. And so it was good for that, for me, and I think for a lot of them too, just to know somebody was paying attention.
Well, let's take a look at least a few of your covers. And I don't know how Westword is going to be without Kenny B, but let's take a look at a couple of these. Now this one right here, that's a cue to roll it, boys in the back room. Now this, of course, was your grand masterpiece, which is now in the Louvre. The Independence Institute turned 25 years old, and that looks nothing like me.
Oh, you're kidding me.
That looks nothing like me.
I think it's a spitting image.
That is nothing like me. One, I'm not. No, it's not. Actually,
I will admit that I wanted to draw you much more angelic, but there was the entire editorial staff wanted me to draw you more of a party boy. So
really, I appreciate it. What about this one?
Oh, this would have been my 30th anniversary at Westword, June of 2012, and it's kind of funny. The day that I was laid off, I was going in there to pitch this idea of doing a compilation of images for my 30th anniversary, right. And this is what came of it. And this is the front cover and the back cover to a small portfolio of postcards, a postcard with an image from every year that I worked at Westword, and the cover, the cow in the spaceship, the alien space cow, was the 1997 cover to the Best of Denver. And the Hip Tip's on the back. Hip Tip was the first cartoon I started doing regularly, and I started that.
Let me see if I understand the story right. That you walked in and said, I got a great idea. We're hitting our 30-year anniversary with me here at the paper. Why don't we do this incredible thing? And you were told instead, we have a better idea. we're gonna let you off.
No, it wasn't presented to me that way. And I had to sort of confess after the 20 minutes of pain that that's what I had walked in for that day. I didn't work at the office. I worked at home. And so I would go in occasionally. I would go in every Monday for the writers' meeting, and then every now and again. That Tuesday I was kind of going in because I hadn't talked to Patty for a couple of weeks, and I wanted to go through some feature ideas and then to present this thing because every year for the Best of Denver they give out a premium. And so this was my pitch for getting to do the premium. And anyway, they're still doing the premium.
But this is the kind of stuff that I'm going to miss. I tell you what, let's show this next one. This is quintessential Kenny B stuff. Here's our governor, the way only our governor could be, of course, in drag. Now, I've been in drag. I've seen Sean Mitchell in drag. I've seen this governor drag. I think I've seen the last governor in drag.
And the Colorado Frockies. I did all of the Rockies in a dress of a Colorado designer.
Now I know as a gay guy, you might picture me in a dress, but your own personal fantasies are your own. What's with the drag?
Well, as a gay man, I'm not really fond of womanly things and dresses. I know drag queens are out there, but I think it's funny, I suppose. I was picking out images for my 30 years. My first feature was men in dresses. And it's funny that it is something that carried through the years.
It was a standard.
Yeah, it's either dresses or underwear. I also enjoy drawing people in their underpants, and always
see, and that's the kind of crap you'll never get in a mainstream paper. All right, you're never going to see that in the Denver Post. You never would have seen it in the Rocky Mountain News. I mean, you saw great stuff from the great local cartoonists, but you would never see Governor Roy Romer in his underwear flying around with a cape. Talk to me a little bit about the future of that type of cartooning.
I wonder where it's going myself. I sometimes wonder if it may be. I mean, there will always be people wanting to lampoon, and there will always be creative people, but I think the drawing process is maybe too slow, and the next generation of what we consider cartoonists will be doing it with in different means on different media, on their cell phones and just different apps. I mean, it was funny about the whole thing with the Planned Parenthood and the Susan G. Komen Foundation. The people hacked into the website to protest it as opposed to having done a cartoon about it. I mean, stuff like that, it may be just taking a different sort of form where people hack websites and mock them.
But there was a whole subculture of alternative cartooning. alternative political cartooning, and particularly in these weeklies. Again, I think of Matt Groening's old cartoon, Life is Hell. I think that's what it was when I was in college, and you had who are the two little guys with the fez hats? Akbar and somebody. Akbar and Jeff,
Mm-hmm.
and they were gay lovers. I mean, you're not going to have gay lovers, particularly back in 1980, on the pages of the Wall Street Journal. But you could find them in these papers, and now they're gone.
One of my favorites that sort of got me started was Mark Allen Stamety, who did Washington. It was just like a weekly strip of the hijinks of D.C., and I just love the way he drew, and he had like a kind of a story thread going through it, but then if you didn't read it every week, you didn't miss anything. But I sort of, that's where I got my inspiration, was like early Village Voice cartoonists.
But Westword is a product of the city of Denver. I mean, it is Denver-esque. That's what's so beautiful about it. And without you there to mock everyone who's in Denver, everyone who's in power, it doesn't. And I mean, we conservatives, I think, got it more than the liberals.
Oh, don't say that to Webb. He would not agree.
Well, Webb was just Webb was built to be cartoons.
Mayor Webb, that is.
Yeah, Mayor with that mustache. You couldn't. And what was his? You even built a character around he and
Federico Pena. It was Fede Pena.
And Wellington Webb was, or was it Roy Man? Governor Roy Romer.
Romer Man was Romer. I could never think of a cute character name for Wellington Webb, but as the years went on,
because he was too corrupt.
I was able to draw him and his wife. I just loved Wilma's hair, and it got more and more complex, sort of Marge Simpson-y, with the gray streaks going through the top. It was a joy to draw. It was just like a big helmet.
Here's the problem you're going to have, my friend. You're going to go knock on the door of every publication, every single PR firm, and after 30 years, you have pissed off everyone in Denver. There is no one you haven't lampooned mercilessly.
Yeah, it's going to be very hard. I might as well just pack it up and move out of town.
Start all over again, pissing off another city.
Work on a ranch in Casper.
Well, let me ask you. I mean, you also do writing, but this was your vehicle. What will your vehicle be in the future? What's can it be going to be being?
This is so funny. I feel like I'm 15 again, because people have been asking me what I'm going to do.
What are you going to do? What are you going to do?
And I'm not quite sure where it's going to take me. I know what I don't want to do, but
if you want, you and I tonight can go out and steal all the Westwords out of all the boxes. Get even.
Well, I have a feature in there this week, so.
All right, won't do. Kenny B, thank you so much. I tell you, it breaks my heart. This is one of the biggest parts of Colorado, and to see you not doing that, it's wrong. It's wrong. Do you understand me, corporate America? It's wrong. Kenny, thank you. Hey, learn a little bit more about the Independence Institute. Go to independenceinstitute.org. Listen for me. Let's see, that would be Sunday night on KHOW. Tell a friend, and we'll see you next week.